We got more Carnival cancellations. The new administration has something to say about the Jones Act. There's a cruise line that's actually getting bigger. And the CDC has something to say about vaccines and masks on cruise ships. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Cruise News Show. I'm your host, Tony, here with the latest cruise news updates. Well, yeah, 4 stories to process through today. It's a lot of information. I'm going to pull up a screen here. There's going to be a glare in my glasses. I don't normally like that, but there's just more than I can commit to memory, I think. So let's work through them one by one. The first story up is Carnival, who just canceled the month of April. Now they have more cancellations that extend way out into November. Let me give you the details. First off, the port of San Diego, they've long wanted to be a regular go-to cruise port, and it looked like it was going to happen before all this hit. Well, now Carnival's pulled the plug on San Diego until at least 2023. So that's the first news that's not great, especially for people that want to cruise out of San Diego. Now we've got some changes to some cruise ships that are going to go into dry dock. Carnival Magic, the Carnival Paradise, the Carnival Valor, their return to operations has been delayed until November 2021. This means that cruises out of Norfolk, Virginia, September the 29th through October the 30th on the Carnival Magic canceled. Cruises on the Carnival Paradise out of Tampa, June the 5th through October the 28th, canceled. And then the Carnival Valor was set to make some cruises from New Orleans, September the 16th through October the 28th, canceled. Now, back to San Diego, the Carnival Miracle was going to do the sailings out of San Diego. Again, they've canceled all of the sailings there through 2023, except for the sailings to Hawaii. The Carnival Miracle will still be going to Hawaii, but instead of leaving from San Diego, now those cruises have been moved to Long Beach. Of course, these changes continue to be made as Carnival adapts to the situation in the world. So yes, people got canceled again yesterday. That's a quick question for you. Were you canceled? Did your cruise get canceled? Let's talk about it in the comments. Our second news story, the administration has weighed in on the Jones Act. Why is the Jones Act important? It's part of the rule set that governs whether or not cruise ships can go to Alaska. It's so much more than that. There's a lot of minutia in the law, but if you want the big takeaway is the Jones Act and its companion act, the Passenger Vessels Services Act. Those are the two overarching rules that basically prevent cruise ships from going to Alaska without first stopping in Canada. That's the only reason this matters to cruisers for the most part. We want to be able to go to Alaska, but if Canada doesn't open up, then we can't go to Alaska because of the Jones Act and the Passengers Vessels Service Act. And another nugget you may want to stick in your head when you're talking about the Jones Act, that primarily deals with cargo. When you're talking about the Passenger Vessel Services Act, that deals with passengers. The crew fits in there somewhere. I'm not 100% sure. Again, there's a lot of minutia, but those two rules are what prevents cruise ships from going to Alaska without a Canadian port. Now, there was some hope that there would be an exemption to these rules in case Canada doesn't open up, but yesterday, the new administration, the new president signed an executive order that was a very pro-American business order, a very America First type order, and specifically in that order, there is an affirmation of the Jones Act. The press release for the executive order yesterday says this. It says that the executive order reiterates the president's strong support for the Jones Act. The president will continue to be a strong advocate for the Jones Act and its mandate that only U.S. flag vessels carry cargo between U.S. ports, which supports American production and America's workers. With the signing of the 2021 National Defense Authorization Act, the Jones Act has also been affirmed as an opportunity to invest in America's workers as we build offshore renewable energy in line with the president's goal to build our clean energy future in America. A lot of people may look at this as an anti-cruise move. The reality is cruising just isn't that important in the grand scheme of things. It's just a small segment of travel. It's a segment that we all love, but at the level of national politics, read that verbiage there. This is about protecting American cargo. This is about protecting American jobs as they pursue renewable energy. It's not really about preventing cruising. Cruising being prevented is just an unfortunate byproduct of these two acts, the Jones Act and the Passenger Vessel Services Act. So, yeah, but there's an affirmation of the Jones Act. So a lot of people are saying maybe we could get an exemption to the Jones Act so that we could cruise to Alaska. I don't think that's happening. Did you catch it in the intro? The CDC has commented on this question of whether if someone is vaccinated, will they still need to wear a mask on a cruise ship? That's coming up. I got another big story, and I want to take a quick second to invite you to join this virtual community here on YouTube. Be a part of the Loca fam. Be a part of Lido Loca by subscribing to this YouTube channel with the notification bell on. That way you don't miss out on any of these updates. Thank you in advance. The next big story is that in a time when cruise lines are selling ships, scrapping ships, selling cruise line brands off to hold on to the money, well, there is a cruise line out there that is getting bigger, increasing their fleet size. We're talking about Azamara. You may think, well, Azamara, that sounds familiar. Well, it should sound familiar. That is the cruise line that Royal Caribbean Group just sold off. They sold off the 3-ship fleet for $201 million to an investment firm called Sycamore Partners. Sycamore Partners, this is their first cruise investment, but they've invested in other retail things, Hot Topic, Staples, Aeropostale, and now they got themselves a cruise business. And the first thing that they've done with this cruise business is pick up a new cruise ship, and they picked up a new cruise ship. I don't even think I talked about this. Princess jettisoned the Pacific Princess. Interestingly, Pacific Princess, at least this version of it, there was a Pacific Princess that you may remember. It was featured on the Love Boat, but this version of the Pacific Princess was built in 1999 for Renaissance Cruises. Interestingly enough, all of the other cruise ships in the Azamara fleet started off as Renaissance cruise ships, but very shortly after Renaissance had this ship built, it went to Princess Cruises. It became the Pacific Princess, and that's where it's remained until it was just sold this month. Its normal capacity, 688 passengers with 373 crew members. So really kind of a little bit of a small cruise ship, but very, it's luxury, okay? Luxury. And so, yeah, in a time of the downturn when nobody's making money, Sycamore Partners, they got the money to buy themselves a new cruise ship. I think it's a cool story because this ship is built like the other ships that are in that fleet. It's almost like, you know, having a dinnerware setting where you got 3 of the plates and you're missing the 4th plate, and you find that plate at Goodwill. And that's what it felt like to me. Maybe some leader over at Azamara was like, you know, 3 ships are good, but if we could have a 4th one just the same, that would complete the set. I don't know if that's the way the decision was made, but still a pretty cool story. And now the big story tied into questions that many people have. You know, more and more talk these days of whether cruise lines will require vaccines. It is unclear right now whether or not they can require vaccines, but one cruise line out there, Saga Cruises, they are requiring vaccines, no exception. So sad. If you can't get one, you can't go on our cruise line. I don't know if other cruise lines, the bigger cruise lines, will go that route. I'm sure there will be some legal tussling that happens when all this goes down in Funky Town, but that's the question. Can the cruise lines require a vaccine? And if they do, once you get, let's say that they can, just for hypothetical, let's say that they can require a vaccine. The question was posed to the CDC. The Washington Post did an article. It's a good read. It talks about Saga. It talks about vaccination. And obviously, the Washington Post has the ability to reach out to the CDC, which is what they did. I'm not sure what the specific question was, but it's definitely surrounding this idea of, will vaccines be standalone, or will there be more? This is what the CDC said. CDC spokeswoman Caitlin Shockley responded in an email to the Washington Post and said this: vaccination, along with other preventative measures, including testing before and after travel, wearing a mask, social distancing, frequent hand washing, and cleaning and disinfecting frequently touched surfaces will be another effective strategy available for reducing COVID-19 transmission associated with travel, including cruising. So if we work that out and we believe that the CDC will be making the rules for cruising going forward, it does sound like from this statement, could change, does sound like from this statement that the CDC, even though you might have a fully vaccinated cruise ship, if that's mandated, will still require the health protocols during this time of COVID-19. Question for the comment is this: what do you do with that information? Alaska's looking sketchy. I don't know. Let's have a conversation in the comments about the news today. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching the show today. Hope you enjoyed it. Please show your support by hitting the like button. This is Tony for Lido Loca, and until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Bye.